Good morning, all. It's 11 o'clock and we will get started. My name is Larry Jewell from the Edmonton Pride Seniors Group. Thank you all for attending our weekly 18th Pride discussion group for 2S LGBTQIA plus seniors, their friends and allies. We are now in our third year and welcome you all. I'd like to thank as well our partners, SAGE and the Pride Center of Edmonton. Before I introduce our speaker, I must acknowledge that we are located on the Treaty 6 territory and respect the histories, languages, and cultures of First Nations, Métis, Inuit, and all First Peoples of Canada, whose presence continues to enrich our lives. I must let you know as well that this session will be recorded for future use on our YouTube channel. If you don't wish your image to be recorded, please simply close your video feed. And now it's a great pleasure to introduce Cindy Gordon. Cindy has been a rehabilitation practitioner for a number of years. She's worked with people with a multitude of disabilities. The past 30 years have focused on hearing loss. Cindy herself has been profoundly hard of hearing since youth. She is actively involved in the hard of hearing community and is the program director for the Edmonton branch of the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association. An important topic, and I look forward to your presentation.
Great. Thank you very much for the introduction. Thank you all for joining me today. Can they see me? Can you all see me?
Yep.
And you can hear me? Perfect. Okay, we'll go right into the presentation. This presentation is dealing with hearing aids, hearing loss, and hearing health. So kind of tying all of that together because it does tie together. And I cannot see you in that chair. I'm gonna move one over. You're hiding on me. There we go, thank you. So I can
I'm here and I heard that.
Yes, I know you did, but I can't see you. I like to see you. So this information was a grant that the New Horizons for Seniors has put out. So I'm grateful to them for being able to let me go around this city. I do a lot of presentations weekly that does get this information out. So go ahead, Eric.
Okay, sorry.
We're just gonna
figuring
get
out
through these, no problem. We do this because I don't think people are aware that hearing loss is actually the third most prevalent age-related disability, only following arthritis and hypertension. So we know there's a lot of people with hearing loss. Our next stat will tell us that we have more than 100,000, you can go ahead and flip it, 100,000 Edmontonians alone who have hearing loss. It is the #1 disability in Canada today and the #1 growing. So not only are we in the #1 spot, we're going to stay there, sadly. And I don't think people really recognize that. So we have 3 million Canadians across the country that have hearing loss. And they say that's about 1 in every 8 Canadians. In our senior population, that number changes to 1 in 2. Every second senior, even though they don't want to admit it, cannot hear your message correctly. So in this online and in this room, how many people do have some degree of hearing loss? So 3 of us. And I don't know, can you get a show of hands online there with your other computer?
We've got 1, 2, 3.
3 there. So we pretty much have, and that's really what it is. And when I do a room of younger people, we always beat the 1 in 8, even with a younger group. So really this is a sad truth. Come on in. Oh, okay, next slide. So we know hearing loss is actually more common in men, believe it or not. But we see more women wear hearing aids than men. And I just think it's because women tend to take, sorry to offend anyone here, tend to take better care of themselves in that respect than men. And we know the number one reason why people don't go and get those hearing aids is actually vanity, sadly. Vanity, and then the cost factor, of course, but typically we don't take care of our hearing loss. Next slide. So our hearing health and wellness, though, are directly connected. So how well we are really is connected to our hearing health. And I think people need to listen, very important, to the next message. But those with untreated hearing loss, it's very true here, experience a 30 to 40% decline in cognitive health. So we know now for a fact that if you are not taking care of your hearing, and that means if you need hearing aids, wearing them, that we are seeing a 40% greater cognitive decline in those adults. So that's a really sad statistic that doesn't have to happen. Next. So again, untreated hearing loss is now being linked with dementia. And there are many studies being done right now to this effect because they started to see this rise, and it was untreated hearing loss. So this is something very simple we can do, and we don't. If you have an injury with your knee and you can't walk, we get to the doctor because we need to know what's going on. People can't hear, they don't get themselves to get their hearing checked. And I'm not sure why they don't want to do that, because this is very serious. Once cognitive decline starts, it can't go back. So it really stands to reason then that depression and hearing loss can go hand in hand. Because when you can't hear, we usually find people isolate themselves. They start to remove themselves from situations. And it becomes very difficult to hear if you don't treat it. So stress, fatigue, and that social isolation are a real reality for people with hearing loss. We really need to stop this from happening. Okay. And this is one of the reasons here. Hearing aids feel and look like this to the wearer. We tend to think they're huge, everyone's going to notice them, they're going to be bothersome. And in reality, this is what they really look like. They're small, indiscreet, they go behind the ear. Most people don't see them. I don't know if those of you at home can, in your homes or wherever you are in your sunny places, can see my hearing aids at all. And I have two of the very largest. I have one of the very largest hearing aids on the market, as well as a cochlear implant, which is sitting on my head and attached to my head and my ear, and yet people still don't ever see it. They're not looking for it. What people really do see is when you can't communicate effectively or you miss what they're saying. So that's more recognizable than the hearing aid.
And nowadays, the hearing aids go right into the...
They do. So hearing aids can go right into the canal. There's a picture of it, the very, very far left one with the little blue on the top. That goes way down into your canal.
Yeah.
You can't even see them. Then they get a little bit bigger in the ear, and then a little bit bigger in the ear, and then the last three are behind the ear ones. And that's pretty typical of the size of them. All right, I'm going to just show one of these hearing aids here. And we're going to talk about our hearing aid, or what's made of, what's a hearing aid about. So let's go to the next slide. All right, so all hearing aids, no matter which one, in the canal, to the behind the ear, even to the implants, all have three components that are the same. All right, every single hearing aid has microphones, and that's how they pick up the sound. So there is a microphone we look at this one here that goes over the ear, there's a microphone right on the very top. Yeah, right on the top. It's picking up sound that's happening forward. And then there is a microphone below it or behind it more, and that picks up sound that's coming from behind you as well. So you have double microphones, which can sometimes be a problem because you're getting a lot of sound that you may not be used to it. So the microphones pick up sound and put it into the hearing aid. Every hearing aid has batteries. So there is usually a little battery cage that you open and you put little teeny tiny batteries into it to operate it. In the last several years, the technology has changed for hearing aids, and now most people put them in a charger. So you have an option. You can change a battery, or you can put them in a charger overnight. Is that what yours are, charger?
Mine is batteries.
Batteries, yeah. And it's really a personal choice. I have one of each. I'm not sure still which is better, but sometimes it's just easier to stick them in the charger in the morning, they're ready. And what people don't realize is those batteries only last about every 4 to 10 days. So this is something that you have to be able to change readily with fine grasp, because the battery cage is actually very, very tiny. So every single hearing aid has a computer in it. And the computer is very, very minute. It is about that size. I don't know if you can catch that size, but it's very, very tiny, a computer that is put into the hearing aid. And that computer is programmed individually for every single hearing aid to how you hear. We couldn't switch hearing aids. All right? Every single computer is programmed, and that's why they're expensive. We're paying for a computer program. We're paying for service. When you get a hearing aid, it means many, many visits. You have to go back, you have to have it checked, you have to maybe modify it. So you need to go pick a place, if you are thinking about it, that is convenient, that is not somewhere across the city that you have to go to and have to service it, because it requires many visits to get a hearing aid to work perfect for you. Because what's not in a hearing aid, go to the next slide, is, click one more time, and one more. It's a brain. So what's really missing in here is the brain. All right? So that means they cannot put that in there. That means they need to have your brain relearn. And this is the whole trick of a hearing aid. It is not like glasses, where you put them on and it corrects your vision instantly. There's no retraining of that. You put a hearing aid in, your brain has to remap, has to re-change the way it's been doing it. Because now you're hearing sounds that you likely haven't heard for some time. You're hearing volumes, you're hearing different frequencies that you have not been able to pick up. The hearing aid is programmed for you to pick up. And your brain is just going crazy because it doesn't understand. So it's a retraining of the brain game. Most people who get hearing aids or have hearing aids hate this part of the game, and they give up. So if any of you have ever gotten hearing aids and said, yeah, everything was so loud, they were bothersome, I didn't keep them, or I only wear them when I go to a meeting, that is not the way to do it. You have to wear a hearing aid, to make a commitment to wear that hearing aid every day, all day. You guys do? Yes? Yes? Anyone online? Yes? Good? Okay. It's important, because if you take a hearing aid on and off, you are absolutely tricking your brain. It hears it, and then it doesn't hear it, it doesn't know what to do with it. Your brain has to relearn. That's a noisy sound, and then eventually the brain says, oh, it's not so noisy anymore, I'm used to it, and it forgets it. But initially, it's excited, and most people give up through that trial period, put the hearing aids in the drawer, or a lot of times I do these workshops amazingly, and people will bring their hearing aids in a little case and have it with them, and not in their ears at all. It doesn't work that way at all, but that's what they do. So hearing aids need to be worn, have to retrain the brain. There's no brain in here that knows what you want to hear and how you want to hear. So that's the second part of this. You have to start a new concentration game where you have to focus on what you want to hear and when you want to hear it. And I know many people call this selective hearing. Many people in your life say that, you've just got selective hearing. It is true, you probably do. But you are choosing when to put all your focus and concentration. Because with someone with hearing loss, we still require a lot of concentration ability. So again, if as we age and we haven't gotten hearing help, then we get it. It is a little bit longer process for seniors than younger people, because we have to build up that brain power and the concentration power, which becomes more of a challenge as we get older. I recognize it all the time, how much more energy I need to do this. People don't recognize how much energy we need, and we need to let them know. It takes a lot of extra energy sometimes. So, next slide. And please interrupt me anytime during this. You don't have to wait till the end. If you've got a question, go ahead, interrupt, okay? All of you. So if you are looking for a hearing aid, the 4 best tips that I can give you. The first one is they don't work in the drawer. I'm going to emphasize that again. If you buy them, you have to wear them. Hearing aids cost approximately $1,000 to $5,000 each ear. We almost always need 2. These are expensive, and our government, sadly, is not really on board with helping all too much. Alberta Aids to Daily Living will kick in a cost sharing of $900. If you can get full coverage, if your income is lower, it's $2,000. Right? Yes, that will get you a hearing aid, but they are expensive, and you likely still have to pay some amount of money towards them. So if you're paying that much money, why is it in your drawer? Why is it in your pocket? And believe me, many people keep it in their pocket as well. You will lose it, by the way. It will break and you will lose it. It will go through the wash and it will not work. So you have to wear them. Make that commitment. The second tip, everything is going to seem loud. Absolutely. Your brain has to get used to hearing it again. It hasn't heard some of the sounds, it gets super excited. I know when I got my implant, I'll never forget, because I was in our kitchen, same kitchen I've had forever, same fridge, and yet I couldn't hear anybody talking in the kitchen. The fridge was so loud. And I honestly would say to my husband, I really think that the fridge is going to break. It's very loud, it's rumbling, and he's looking at me like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And I said, I can't hear you over the fridge, it's so loud. But my brain had never heard that sound. I didn't realize, honestly, my brain never heard the fridge sound with my hearing aids weren't enough to give me that. And I was just like, this is amazing. It's always made this sound. I'm sure most of you don't think fridges make sound because your brains just white it out. My brain has eventually whited it out as well. I don't hear the fridge at all anymore. But initially, that's all I could hear. It was so excited. My brain was like, listen to that. I remember going out with my new hearing aid and my CI outside and hearing birds, and hearing sounds and not knowing where it was coming from. I never heard it. And my kids were running around the yard trying to figure out guessing game. What do you think it sounds like? I have no idea because I've never heard this. It's exciting. It's amazing. We need to embrace that instead of complaining. Everything's too loud. That's usually what people say. We need to just say like, wow, I hear it. We need to hear those sounds in our lives. We need to hear emergency sounds. Some things are really important to hear. I don't know about you guys, but I've left the tap on and I don't hear that sound of the water running. That is really not too good. So now I hear it, and that's great because I will hear it. Oh, something's running. Yikes. Before it's overfilled my kitchen like it did before. So we really need to wear.
And why does a person with a hearing aid have to turn up the TV? Or
The TV is actually one of the first indications that somebody has hearing loss is the volume of how they're listening to TV. You have someone in your home that keeps turning the volume louder, 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 or you hear your neighbor's TV.
yeah,
The likelihood is very good they have a hearing loss.
but my grandmother has hearing aids, and she still turns up the,
She still does?
yeah,
Okay, then these aren't working very well because most people, that volume goes way down. As a matter of fact, when this is how my mother finally was convinced. My father started watching TV in the other room, same show, because she had it too loud. He could not tolerate it, so he'd go in the other room, shut the door, watch TV in there, the same show, and then they'd come out and talk about it, which was so ridiculous, but he couldn't stand it. Then she got hearing aids, and the volume went so low, and now he couldn't hear it because the volume was too low because her hearing aids. So then he still was in the other room. It was so crazy. But the volume is one thing you should really be able to control. All right. New hearing aids also have a streaming ability that you can stream the sound from the TV directly into your hearing aid. And the person who's in the other room with you can adjust the volume to where they want to hear it, and you just stream right into your hearing aid. It's quite amazing. So technology has changed. If you haven't tried a hearing aid over the last 5 years, you need to try them. They're amazing. Bluetooth technology is amazing. So number 3, those batteries, again, you must remember, will die every 4 to 10 days. And if you don't charge it every night, it will not work. So those are rules you have to live by. If you're getting a charging one, that has to be charged overnight while you're sleeping, or it won't work. So the only time you take a hearing aid off is when you're sleeping, or swimming, or showering. They're not waterproof, so you don't want to take them in there, but they will die. And the last tip for buying these is nobody can see them and nobody cares. They really don't. What they care about more is when you don't hear them and you're faking it. And we do that. All us hard of hearing people bluff. We're very good at bluffing. We say, yeah, okay. We have no idea what they asked us. And you said yes to it. You're going to get yourself in trouble. I've gotten myself in trouble many, many times by bluffing. So this is not a good thing to do. All right? We need to say, I didn't hear it, or I have hearing loss. Can you repeat it? But really, nobody cares that you have a hearing aid. They really don't. They don't. They care that you hear. So the other part to wearing hearing aids is 4 best communication tips that you need, because these aren't the only answer. Hearing aids are not the only thing that, oh wow, magically I can hear now. We still have to practice communication strategies. The first one is the number 1, face me rule. We do not hear you well, we don't face you. And that's why, when you came and you said I was here, it's like, oh, I have to be facing everyone, but I am facing everyone this way. It's a number 1 rule. We don't hear between doors. We don't hear on the other side of the door. We might hear a sound. We might know somebody's talking to us, but it won't make sense. So typically, when we lose our hearing, we start to speech read naturally. And we start to build in the faces of everything that's being said. So, for example, people with hearing loss may hear ire. I-R-E, ire. That's a solid sound that comes in, ire. What we don't know, if it's tire, liar, fire, wire, we only hear ire. So we're filling in the clues by your face, fire. Oh, okay, I guess that's fire, liar, okay? By what we see. So it's super important we see you because we fill in all those gaps with what's happening in the conversation. And you don't even know you're doing it sometimes. But we can make those mistakes because two things can actually fit in there sometimes. But we do try to fill it in. Actually, only 30 to 40% of the English language is visible on the lips. So the other 60% is deduced by context, by visual, by guessing. That's a lot of guessing in our day. It's exhausting. So number 2, if you're having a conversation and you know the person has hearing loss, to say their name first. Eric is going to draw his attention to me before I start the conversation. Because we create a lot of frustrations in our lives when we start talking to someone and they haven't tuned into us yet. And then we realize they're talking and we look and we've missed the first half of the conversation. It's really challenging. So say their name, get them to look, and don't start the conversation until they're looking at you. All right? Number 3, speak clearly and slowly and rephrase it if necessary. So I remember a conversation I had with somebody and she was talking about a girl. Girl is a very guttural sound. There's really nothing on there and I just couldn't pick up what she was talking about. She said, a small female child. Okay, girl. It seemed so silly. It seemed like a simple little word, but it was something that just was not coming in. So sometimes we have to rephrase it a different way if it's being misunderstood. And lastly, all else fails. Use pen and paper. But I also want to share something really important. I've got to get my phone up here. So the old days we used pen and paper, still works great. But most of us who have cell phones today, we have apps on the cell phone. And this one on an Apple phone is called Live Caption. And it's built into it, and it's automatic on there. It's always on here. It's always on here. I don't know if you can see that. And it comes on, and there's a microphone, and it comes on, hit the mic, and it starts live captioning what it's hearing. And it should be captioning me at this point. There we go. And it's captioning everything I'm saying. So if you're having a real challenge, go into the accessibility mode of your phones. And I know that Androids also have one. It's a different one than this one, but it will caption everything that's being said. So if you're going to a really noisy restaurant and you want to hear what someone's saying, lay your phone on the table and it'll be able to pick everything up that's being said. The waitress, whatever, the waiter, just put it on the table. It's really, really amazing.
Where did you do that?
It's in the accessibility, so in your settings, in the accessibility mode, and then you scroll way down into the hearing, and then that option is there. It's called Live. Is yours an Apple?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Live Beta, I believe. Live Caption Beta. It is amazing. It's I don't know if you can see how clear that captioning is to everything I'm saying. It's quite amazing. And it really helps out in a lot of situations. So where we used to before done pen and paper, people are going to this now. It's a wonderful
That's
option.
really helpful, Cindy, because The one area where I have the most trouble is if it's crowded and I'm trying to focus
On
on one person. and
Absolutely.
Everything else.
So this is really great. We've got your phone, you can do that. If you don't have a phone, which is my mother refuses to have a cell phone, she uses a little mini mic. And the mini mics, you can focus on people too, and it's a direct input into her hearing aid and it blocks out all the other sound, which is wonderful. So hearing aids, again, as I say, are changing. Pen and paper is the simplest. If you're giving someone your phone number and you know they have hearing loss, let me just tell you, 4 and 5 look the same. 2 and 3 look the same, can sound the same, and I have phoned way too many wrong phone numbers, so never again. Everything, write me your number. I never rely on what I hear anymore, so good tip. All right, so those are the first, that we do have some handouts of more communication strategies here, and I can leave some for Eric to share with the group when you're together, but you're welcome to them. All right, oops, one back. That's okay. One back is some other devices.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Oh.
Perfect. So hearing aids sometimes are just not enough. I know in my life, I can't just rely on the hearing aid. And where I can't rely on it is when I'm sleeping, because I don't sleep with it. So in my case, and in many people who have hearing loss, their case is that we will not hear sounds that are happening in the night. And one of those really important sounds is fire. So fire alarms can be made visual. And in most buildings, we see the little strobe lights, perfect. But is there a strobe light in your bedroom where you're sleeping? That's what you need to look at. It's wonderful in a lot of in a lot of residential places, the strobe light is put in the hallways. That's not where you're sleeping. And then during the day, you do hear it with your hearing aids on. So that's not a good thing. It should be in your bedrooms. But if it's not, if you need to, there are, as you can see on that fire one, you can buy, you can put them in, they're wired, they're not hardwired. You can put them into your homes. And I want to point you to the corner, the clock. So the clock also wakes me up. But how it does this, I have a panel on mine. And what happens is the clock, there's that little ball on the bottom, it's a vibrator. Goes under your pillow and it shakes the pillow. So when the clock goes off, it wakes me up. But mine also alerts me and has a little panel if the fire alarm goes off. So it can alert me. If the doorbell rings or if the phone rings while I'm sleeping, it can alert me. And these clocks also have an option. There's a little plug behind it and I plug my lamp into it. So I prefer my lamp flashing than the shaking of my pillow. Both are very strong and you can have both if you're a heavy sleeper happening, but we all just take it for granted. We've got a hearing aid now and geez, I'm good, I don't need to worry. But you do need to worry because you won't hear without that hearing aid sleeping. Even if you don't have that bad of hearing loss, you are sleeping on one ear, which is blocking sound. And you've got one bad ear that has supposed to hear everything. If you've got someone else in the household, it's wonderful to think, oh, they'll wake me, but maybe not. Because maybe smoke will overtake them first. So that's a false hope. I used to think that all the time. Oh, well, my husband will wake me. Then I thought, well, he's closer to the door. If the fire's coming from there, he's going to pass out first. I'm not going to wake up. This is not good. So I had to take care of myself. Lights. These are available. You get all of these devices the same place you would get your hearing aids. Our association also sells some of these products just because we didn't want to go into the business of selling them, but we just wanted to make sure people had an outlet to be able to get them. All right. Phones, you should know, sometimes hearing aids aren't enough, although the Bluetooth technology is amazing today. You still might need an amplified phone. So they have all kinds of amplifiers. And that top corner one is a loop system. I'm I'm not sure if you've heard about loops. Loops are a wonderful new technology, not new, but new in Edmonton. The whole entire city of Edmonton has these loops in all of their meeting rooms at City Hall, and where you go to pay bills. Every second teller has them. They're wonderful. It allows those of us with hearing loss to step within an area and switch, which we should have on our programs in our hearing aid, what's called a T-coil. T-coil is switched on, and now I knock out all the other sound happening and only hear the person talking to me. Takes out all that other distracting noise. So if I'm going to pay a bill and they have this counter loop, they have it at a few grocery places downtown here. That new independent grocers has them at the cashiers, at the bakery. We've installed them. And they're amazing because I can hear exactly what they're saying to me and cut out all the sounds that are happening in that store. Except for what she's asking me at the deli, because I want to make sure I hear. Do not want to go home with the wrong stuff. And that has happened too. So you know what? These loops are really amazing. They should be in every facility, especially front desks. So if you're interested in that, you can contact it. I will let you know that our association, if you go on to the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association Edmonton branch, we do have videos up about these things, about this system and how it operates and what it sounds like. So you're welcome to go onto those videos. Go right onto our website and go into videos. All right, so that's devices. So hearing aids sometimes are not the only thing. There's one other thing I want to talk about that isn't up there, and that is this personal FM system. It's called a pocket talker. So we recognize that sometimes hearing aids, somebody just cannot wear them. They just can't do. But in certain situations, like medical, where it's extremely important to hear your information, we want to let you know that this pocket talker can work like a modified hearing aid. You wear a headset, and there is a little bit of a big box, and it is a microphone. So if you took this in a medical setting, the doctor would hold that. This would just be on you, and you would wear a headset, and you would be able to hear his message very clearly and loudly. All right? So this is where we're most concerned, is when people don't hear their medical information. And hospitals are really scary places. And that's why I have this other item up that I'm going to be talking about. So next slide. This we're going to go over very quickly. This is the speech reading that I've talked about. We teach classes. If you go to the next one, we teach classes. It's an alternative. We call it speech reading, not lip reading, because there's more to it than just lips. We understand the spoken message with visual clues. Next slide. All of these things are taken into place. We teach these classes at our association. They're extremely beneficial. Next slide will tell us that.
Sorry.
Oop, that's okay. Yeah, and the next one as well. We'll just kind of go through this a little bit faster. There we go. So we do that. We would even host in your facility here a 2-hour introductory class so you could see what it's like. But we really do have a class starting January 16th. That's a Tuesday morning, every Tuesday morning for 8 weeks at our center. And it's a small group that gets together, and we teach the skills. There's 2 levels actually. So first level is 8-week class. You must attend every week or try to. First hour is all speech reading skills, and the second hour of the class is a 2-hour class, is coping strategies in society, living in a hearing world. So if you're interested, absolutely want to sign up, go onto our website again, right? But we also could offer a 2-hour introductory class here if you really wanted to see what it was like. Okay, so you can let me know if there's interest. Yeah. All right, next one is this hearing hospital kits. This is the other part that I am bringing out to you. I have gifts for everyone who wants one here, because these kits are very, very important. we all end up in the hospital for something. When you have hearing loss, it is a frightening experience when you cannot hear what the doctors are saying to you, what your medical care should be. And when we bluff, because that's the easiest, we get the wrong information. So our statistics tell us that, this isn't the one, I have another one. The statistics tell us that hard of hearing people are 40% more likely to return for the same thing at the hospital than hearing people, because they didn't do the right thing the first time, because they didn't hear it adequately. We don't need this to happen. So we really want to push these kids. So again, if we know how many online, again, need one, Eric will take them and hold them and share them when you see them, if you will. And to others that you know who have hearing loss and want one of these kits, I'm going to tell you what's in these kits to help you when you go to the hospital. And I'm going to tell you why we put these kits together. Because our association receives phone calls from the hospital often asking if we will come bring out a hearing aid, out of the blue, a hearing aid with no test or anything, because they lost their patient's hearing aid while at the hospital. Second reason we did this was people are told to not bring their hearing aids to the hospital when they go, because they don't want them to lose them. Because they know they lose them. So they say, don't bring them. Can you imagine standing there and not hearing your medical information at all? It's ridiculous concept. Like, how do you do that? I have no idea. But we tell you, bring your hearing aids. So in this kit, we've put a few things. There is a little colored box. Some are blue, green, red. They're very colorful and hard and easy. They've got a hard of hearing symbol on them. This is a safe place to keep your hearing aids when you are sleeping in the hospital. Put them in there. Your name will be on here and how many hearing aids, and they'll be there. What happens in the hospital is people bring their hearing aids and don't bring anywhere to keep them. So they put the hearing aids on the bedside table and they put a little Kleenex over them. This is honestly 9 out of 10 times. Put a Kleenex over them to protect them. And the janitor comes and cleans them up and throws them away. Threw away $5,000 into the garbage can, gone, right? We can never bring a hearing aid out and replace it. We don't know your hearing. These are individualized computers in there. And the fit, we can't just do that. So that's never going to happen. That's why this is an alternative. All the hospitals should have one at their desk in case something should happen. That's not happening, I can tell you that. 30 years I've been trying, it's not happening. But these little kits, bring your hearing aid, put them in there safely. No one's thrown this little box away yet. Okay, it's very clearly, and we have a sticker on here that says, these are my hearing aids. Throw them away. Also, while in the hospital, we have a badge in the kits that you can wear. We wear these often, going to places. It says, please speak loudly, clearly, and face me. The symbol is the international symbol for hearing loss. Doctors nurses should recognize this, right? Wear it while a patient there, keep it on. We also have a little bag in there, which seems very rudimentary, with a little safety pin that says, if you need to take me for an X-ray or an MRI, and my hearing aid has to be removed, place it into the bag and tie it onto my gown or my bed with this safety pin. Do not take it to the front desk. Do not take my hearing aids away from me, because that's when they're lost. They will be gone. The nurses switch and they're gone. I guarantee you, it happens often.
Guy online has got a question.
Yes.
Go ahead, Guy.
I was just wondering, just for the sticker, could you bring it really close to the camera so that we
Sure.
could just see it?
Yeah.
Because it's fascinating.
I'll bring it on here because it's a little bit bigger for you to see. Is that close?
Oh,
Yeah.
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 Oh, thank you so much. I had no idea.
Yeah, that is an international symbol. So if you see that symbol in a store, that's telling you something there is accessible for you to hear. And if you wear it, that's telling people, I have hearing loss. It's a dual symbol. But anytime you see it, you should be thinking hearing loss right away. Okay?
And
Another
Jan,
question, yeah?
Jan has a question. Go ahead, Jan.
Hi, you're showing some really good stuff here. It's gold. My comment's very similar to what Guy had. Do you think we could take the PowerPoint presentation off and zoom in on you on what you're showing?
That was the intention, was it not, Eric?
Sure. I will. I'll do that right now.
Do that?
Now, we may lose video for a second.
Okay, well, yeah, that's okay, because the rest of it is just nothing except this, the question mark. So let's leave it like that so you can see. All right? Okay, yeah.
Can we,
I'll
can we
those up. So
zoom in,
that
can we zoom in on the speaker just a little bit?
Yeah. Okay, and I'll zoom in on that badge,
Get a little bit closer.
closer.
Eric, if you spotlight her, you'd be
Yeah.
all you see.
Yeah, she is spotlighted, I think.
Okay, see that badge that you can wear? You can all have one of these kits, so you're gonna see it.
Spotlight her.
I brought you all one.
We'll spotlight for turns. Yeah, there it is.
That's
Okay, Mike,
brilliant. Well done, brilliant.
Okay, great, there you go. Okay, and so now in the kit is also a battery tester. So you make sure your batteries aren't dying, something's not happening in the hospital, interference, you can check your batteries, make sure they're working. That's in the kit. All right, also in the kit is a bunch of information, communication tip cards to give out to the staff that come into the room. And this one is one of the most important ones. I don't know if you can see it a little bit, but it's got the symbol. It's a big yellow paper, and it goes behind your head in your hospital bed. Yeah, this is where the shyness goes out. But your medical care, I can't tell you how important that is. It says, get my attention, face me, speak clearly, I am hard of hearing. I can tell you that this alone changes your whole situation, because we tested this with my mother and she had to go into the hospital. Well, I've seen it with several people, but didn't put anything behind there. And every time someone came in the room, they started talking the minute they opened the door. They're all in a hurry today. They started talking right away. And before they got to her bed, they would say, so what do you think? She had no idea they were even talking to her, didn't even know any of what was said. And then they got frustrated because they had to start again. Then we put the sign up. And as soon as they walked in, they did the same thing. And then they saw it and they stopped. And they remembered. Came up to her bed, started again. And it just started to connect with people that, hey, I gotta wait, I gotta keep going, caution. Speak right here to me. And that's a really important factor. So that's in there, along with a few other information. We've got a tip sheet, brochure of all the things you can do to prepare yourself, how to hear better, how to speak up for yourself in that kit. So that's in there as well. All right, so these kits, as simple and rudimentary as they are, oh, plus we have pen and paper. You never know. We need to remember in a hospital that the languages are diverse. So many people with different languages there. Language is a barrier for those of us with hearing loss. Accents, it changes how we hear, changes how they make it. Mustaches, beards, you're gonna get it all in the hospital. What else is happening in the hospital? Masks. COVID was a nightmare for those of us with hearing loss. So yes, so we need this. We need pen and paper. We need our apps. We need to tell them, I can't hear you. I need to know my medical information and I can't hear you. Come up with a solution because this is crucial.
So I have two things to say. First of all, if anybody online would like one of these kits, please just send an email to agwithpride@gmail.com, our normal email address. and, I'll, give me your address, I'll mail one out to you.
Or do you guys mail them directly or?
We can mail them directly as well. I just thought maybe they were going to be meeting at the Christmas social soon.
But getting the connection,
Yeah,
right?
they can reach us too. If you know other people, they can reach out to us and we will mail them out as well. Yeah.
So that's the first thing. The second thing is I've been wearing hearing aids for 3 years. I know that my hearing typically declines with age. So how frequently should I have my hearing tested?
Yes. Very good question, Eric. Everyone heard that? You should be checking your hearing on a yearly basis. It can happen very quickly. And yes, hearing does progress, which means gets worse. They call it progresses as we age. On top of whatever other reason you lost your hearing, as we age, it also loses some of our hearing. So we need to keep on top of that. For the most part, they can fine tune it and just boost you up a bit inside the computer, just to keep up with you. All right, but you've got your hearing test now. If you've never had a hearing test, you need to have that. Everyone over the age of 60 should get hearing tests always.
Just 2 other quick comments. The first one was when I started wearing hearing aids, the only problem I had was if people crumpled paper near me, it was really loud, went in, they did a quick adjustment, never a problem. The second part, which I thought was important, because you mentioned different languages, I found that wearing hearing aids, it made it much easier for me to understand
Absolutely.
a British accent,
Yeah.
and
You're hearing those frequencies and the tones with which they speak better. Yes, absolutely it does. But there's still always going to be some concern with them. But yes, like hearing aids are not magical. They don't restore your hearing right back. We still have to do so many things. Yeah, I am open for questions now. That's all I had. But those kits are here. They are available. You can reach out to the Canadian Hard of Hearing Association, Edmonton branch, because we are a national organization. Make sure you put Edmonton. And I know you have my email too that you can share with everyone.
Okay,
But,
so we have a few questions.
yeah,
First one, Larry, and
A
then.
question about behind the ear hearing aids, which I have lost on occasion, never, I've discovered it. Do you have any tips about how to
okay.
ensure that you don't lose them?
There are a couple things, yes. So did you hear that question online? Wants to know about losing our hearing aids, which can happen. They can fall out. I haven't ever lost one myself in all activities, and I'm not sure how this happened. But there is this device. It's a very little, it's a string. It's an elasticy string. You put your hearing aids, there's 2 things you can do. You can wear it around your neck and keep those on. Or they come, I don't know how this all got all tangled. They come in a little clip. There's a little clip on this, and you can tie it here and put your hearing aid, and if it falls off, it's not going anywhere, it's staying here. And they use this a lot, actually, for children, and then they realized adults also needed it, and they used it for people who unfortunately have dementia or Alzheimer's, who don't remember what it is about, and they were throwing them. And so this saved them from getting lost. So
Where are
there
those
is
available?
solutions.
Those clips are available.
Where you got your hearing aid. You bet.
Okay, yeah, we've got a lot of
A
questions.
lot of questions. We start at the
Online.
beginning.
We'll start with maybe Jan. Go ahead, Jan.
A friend of mine just got new hearing aids and they actually read her texts to her. Like that's amazing technology.
The hearing aid reads text.
When she gets a text on her phone, it's connected
yes.
to her hearing aid.
Yes.
It will read
That's
her.
Bluetooth. Yeah, that's
amazing.
Bluetooth technology. It's amazing. That's why I said if you haven't tried a hearing aid in the last 5 years, you need to see them now.
That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, next, Joan. Go ahead, Joan.
Hi, Cindy. Can you just tell me a little bit about the cochlear implant? Like, what does that do for you? Do you need that as well, or just?
Sure. So a cochlear implant is, it's a glorified hearing aid. It is something you get when your hearing aids no longer can provide any benefit. All right, so you have to still go through that process, but it became about 12 years ago, my hearing had deteriorated to, I lost it all, and this was the only last option. So a cochlear implant is inserted into your head. The computer is actually inserted into my head, and there is a little lead that is inserted into the cochlea. The cochlea is the snail-shaped part of our ear. I can try to get that up. I don't know how. It's this little piece. When we look at our hearing, it's the furthest away from our hearing. And that is, this is actually a better way. It's way over here, the cochlea. That's what's damaged in our hearing. Those hair cells die, they get damaged. And so it's a little piece that is threaded into the cochlea, and it gives instant stimulation. So the hearing is very different process. So a hearing aid, you put it on your ear, the sound goes through your ear, natural process, pushes sound, pushes clarity that way. A cochlear implant, I'm going to take it off here for a minute, looks like a hearing aid, but there's this piece up here that is connected. I'll move a bit closer. This piece up here is magnetized to my head. There's a magnet underneath the first layer of my skull. It's magnetized to it. Behind that is the computer. And then inside to the cochlea is that little loop. So I still get sound from a hearing aid type piece, same as yours, comes here, but it goes up. And when it goes up, it goes directly to the cochlea. So it bypasses all the natural hearing. So I get more instantaneous sound and louder sound. And the reason why I only wear the one and a hearing aid in the other is because in Alberta, the only province in Canada, in Alberta, we are only allowed one. Our government says, which ear do you want to hear from? Absolutely, that's exactly what I was asked.
With some of our politicians, it's a blessing if you can't hear them.
This is true.
An editorial. Guy, go ahead. You have a question, please.
Yeah, it's just simple, straightforward. The last time I had my hearing tested, he had said to me, don't bother, because the only part that was damaged was the frequency that hears the human voice. So I was kind of bewildered, but I'm guessing the technology has improved a whole lot so they could fine tune it.
Yes. So for other people whose hearing is damaged in a different place, perhaps yours is in the middle ear, the bone conduction, whatever, they have bone anchored hearing aids. They're called BAHAs, bone anchored hearing aids, and they're anchored behind where, and again, they go a different way, but there's always, and for people who are one-sided hearing, there's crossover hearing aids that send sound to the side that doesn't hear from the one that does. So there's all kinds. I would still go to a different place or have another test and see what's up. And maybe even an implant is your solution if hearing aids aren't. The solution for a CI is once a hearing aid isn't there, then what other is there?
We're at 12 o'clock.
Yeah.
But
5-2 there on that one, but Michael had a
Michael
question?
had one question, so maybe we'll make that the last question. Michael always gets the last word in.
No? Was your question answered?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
well, listen,
So do know that I am available for other outlets, residential settings. It's very important that this message gets out, that people are wearing hearing aids and getting the kit if they need them. So, yeah.
The attendance was relatively small, and I hope you would consider coming back. We might try to get a larger audience, not just the LGBT audience here, because this is so
Absolutely.
important.
It is important. It's important to me. It's why I keep doing it, because there's so many people not wearing hearing aids that need them. And we're just seeing that cognitive decline happening so rapidly, and it doesn't need to. So,
okay, well, listen,
but thank you guys for having me.
thank you so much, and please, if you would like that kit, please just send in an email. I'll make sure that you get them.
Yep.
Larry, go ahead.
And next week, it will be a return visit from Dusko Trivich and a colleague on the role of the executor, particularly around the funeral time. So not exactly a Christmas topic, but an important topic too.
But speaking of Christmas, on December 14th, we're going to have a celebration here. We're not sure if we can put it online or not, so there's your incentive to come and have some
Right,
really
he's
nice
gonna have this
cookies
whole box here.
and maybe pick up some other things. So just that reminder for December 14th. We will let you know whether we can broadcast that on Zoom or not, but it would be nice if you could make it here. And then what else do we have to talk about? I guess that's about it for today.
Yeah, other than to thank Cindy for a most informative presentation.
Thanh you,
Very good, very, very helpful.
thank
Thanks
you.
very much, and thanks
Thanks for
everybody
joining
for
us, yeah.
attending today.